find some weird kind of cracks in whatever sort of shape you want, I guess. That's up to you. And then I would probably just erase some of that part there as well. So yeah, there you have a kind of sort of semi-completed-ish skull. So I'm going to duplicate this bad boy real quick, bring it across, and let's talk about some ways that you could change this. So like I said before, you could change the proportion so it's not so tall. Let's do that. So just going to hold shift and scale this down. And then I'm actually going to start this one again now. So one thing that you can do that I've seen is, if you want to make this your own kind of style, you can make the eyes totally different shapes. You can make them much more circular if you wanted to. There's nothing wrong with that. You could do them much more sort of narrower if you really wanted to. I've seen people do that. It's up to you. You don't have to necessarily draw them perfectly smooth. You can draw them round like that, as I do in a lot of my skulls and stuff like that. So I'd encourage you to play around with that a bit. I think I'm going to make these maybe a little bit more circular, and I'm going to just draw them kind of a bit wavy in the line style that I like to use a lot. Now another thing that you can do with the nose here, like it doesn't have to be at these exact proportions. It doesn't have to stop right in the middle between the eyes here. I've seen some really cool skulls where the nose is actually way higher up, so it kind of starts here and it kind of stretches up like that in a lot of tattoos and stuff I've seen, which I think is really cool. And it's just another cool way that you can make your own sort of weird, unique skull. Again, I'll just draw that in a bit more round, but also with those wavy lines. So now I'll go ahead and I better just draw back in the side of the skull. I'm going to make this one a bit smaller, I think. Okay, cool. Now we can draw in, I'm just going to draw in those brow lines again. Again, I'm going to make them kind of wavy and a bit wonky. Same thing here. Now, a lot of simple styles of skulls, including mine, a lot of the time I don't even bother with this cheekbone here. So I can actually just skip it and come straight down to where the teeth might sit. I'll draw back in this line here. In fact, I don't even know if I like it out there. I might even bring it out a bit. And just kind of draw it like this, just around here. You could make the top of the skull way bigger if you wanted to even. I think I'll probably still kind of follow the existing line there a bit. And again, I would probably end up, when I draw this, for the final version, probably still make these like weird wonky shaped lines and stuff, which I think is pretty cool. Now the jaw, I'm gonna just actually cut it off right about here, I reckon, and make it a lot smaller in this one. In fact, I may even go even shorter than that, come to think of it, but we'll just roll with this for now. So drawing these lines back in at a totally different angle now. So instead of it being so vertically, the jaw being so vertically drawn, I'm going to draw them in at much more of like a horizontally kind of angle like that. Put that line in there, and usually I think in this kind of style I probably would actually be more likely to extend the jaw up here. Again, this is just like a personal preference. I see this in a lot of tattoos and stuff as well. It's just the way I like to do it. No pressure. Draw whatever you think looks cool. Okay, add a little bit more detail lines while I'm here. Now I might even just ditch that image altogether for a bit. I think I might even bring the nose down a bit more. And then, so the top of the teeth would probably be around here. Draw a line through the middle again, just to really separate where the top jaw and the bottom jaw are. It looks like it's smiling again, which is a bit weird. So over here, I sort of drew kind of round shaped teeth. You don't have to do them like that. Sometimes I draw them in totally different shapes, totally different sizes even. For example, for this one, I'm going to do more sort of triangular teeth, and I'm going to make them different sizes. So you could do like a smaller one, then a few like taller ones, and then smaller ones again, a couple of tall ones. If I just get rid of some of these lines in the middle here. And then I'll do the same sort of looking thing over this side. Cool. So if I just zoom out real quick, take a look at these two skulls now. Like that looked like, it even felt like it was going to be quite similar to the one that I'd just drawn, but when I actually zoom back and look at them, to me they look so different. Oh, my big head's in the way, sorry. They look, to me they look really different. So yeah, I think that's pretty cool. I would probably fill in, like I said before, I usually fill in this whole area with the shadow. This time, you know, when I'm drawing that line over the top of the middle of the skull, you don't have to draw it at all, but I might even just kind of like make it a bit more separated like that. Maybe not even draw in any cracks, don't really have to. You could even draw a crack coming in off a different part if you wanted to. I mean, it's just so up to you. So this is what I mean when I say you can really draw them in so many different styles, so many ways. It's just like infinite possibilities with skulls, which is why they're one of my favorite things to draw. You know, I could draw a skull on a logo or a t-shirt for someone, and I could do that for like 100 people, and every single one of them could look different, which is really cool. Okay, there we go. Maybe add like another little line here. Cool, right on. So I think that's already starting to look pretty cool. I'm quite happy with that one. I mean, it's up to you guys what you prefer. I think when I started, I really enjoyed this kind of style more, but now I really like just kind of weird, you know, almost like a Neanderthal skull or something. The proportions are so unusual, but I really like that style a lot. I've done other skulls as well where you can even extend the jaw out quite a lot. So you could even like extend it all the way out to here, which looks a bit weird right now because I've drawn the teeth in and they don't fit, but I've actually drawn skulls that looked a lot like that. So, you know, there's a lot that you can do with these skulls. In fact, I might even just duplicate that real quick. So another thing, if you look at the skull that I did before, it had some crossbones behind it. These are actually super easy to draw. Really the only thing you have to do is just try to not make sure the ends look like ball sacks. That's pretty much the worst that it's going to get. So the way that I do that, I'll just make a new thing real quick, is I just draw two straight lines, probably something like that for now, and then I'll just kind of rotate them and find out where I want to position them. Like I might just put one behind the skull over here. Again, doesn't really matter. You can put them wherever you want. Sometimes people do them like perfectly symmetrically behind. I like to do them a bit weird and a bit wonky. I've done some skulls where I've had one behind the skull like that, and then I've had another one that looked like it was kind of just falling, even just kind of overlapped like that, which is cool. And then obviously when I draw this in, it'll be behind the skull. So if I just quickly erase this, and then I think this one would be behind as well, like that. So the skulls could just, the bone, sorry, could just be hanging out there. Then what you can do is obviously draw in the ends. Now, like I said, don't make it look like testicles. You probably will the first time you sketch it. Don't be afraid. This is perfectly normal. So I kind of draw it a bit like this. I draw it out so it has like a bit of a cap here, and then it comes over like that. So that's the first shape, and then you can kind of draw the other one however you want, even if it does look a bit like a testicle or whatever. And then the opposite side, I try to do something a little bit different. Maybe it would even be like just one. Actually, you know what could be cool is you could even just make it look like a broken bone. That could be kind of cool. I don't know if I've even done that before, so you could maybe just draw something in like that. And then again on this one, same kind of thing here. It kind of has a bit of a corner there, which is one of the things that I find helps it not look too stupid, because if you just draw it kind of like that, it's going to look a bit childish and just a bit dumb. So I like to do that, make one side bigger than the other, sometimes even come back on the other side with one too, like that. And then Maybe on this side I'll draw them a bit more round. Like that. So yeah, there you have it. That's another little way that you can add stuff in. I'm just going to merge these, and while we're here, you know what? I'm having some fun. Let's draw in another cool thing. So I'm going to take this skull, just to mix things up a bit. I might even just flip it so it's facing the other way, which I think is kind of cool. I might rotate it a bit so it looks like it's kind of looking down. And then why don't we draw in like maybe like an arrow, or even you could do the exact same thing with a blade, for example. But I'm going to pretend that there's a arrow coming through a line, you know, piercing through the skull here, for example. I might have to move this down a little bit further. Okay, so same thing as before. I go over here and draw a nice perfectly straight line, draw another one right next to it, and then I'll worry about the details later. So we'll grab that, bring it over here. I'll just extend the length of it a bit, maybe put it like there, could be kind of cool. Now obviously once it entered the skull through this crack here, you wouldn't be able to see the rest of the arrow until it actually sort of exited down the bottom. So I'll do that, and I think you wouldn't really be able to see that either. And then, sorry, cool, just draw like a end on the arrow in whatever style you wanted, and then up the top we could draw in just very roughly. Normally I would draw one side, then duplicate it, and reflect it so that it's nice and, you know, symmetrical or whatever. But there you go. So that's like another way that you could even draw in a arrow on the skull too. You can maybe, if you had like, this could be for a logo or a shirt or something, you could have some text kind of arching over it like that. Maybe you could have some underneath, and then if you had some that's terrible. Just ignore how bad that is, but anyway, you get the idea. And then if you had some weird gaps you wanted to fill, you could maybe put in like some blood or something, even though a skull, you know, wouldn't be bleeding, but like whatever, do what I want. And yeah, so there you have it, another little style there. So anyway, I feel like I'm just full on rambling right now. This video must be going for ages. So that's just a bit of an overview of how I would draw a skull. If you want to see me go through the full process and draw one of these up all perfect and stuff and do it for a shirt design, let me know. I could even grab one of these in another video, then redraw it all nice and clean, add some text around it, fill some gaps, and think that sort of thing through if that's interesting to you guys. But yeah, let me know if you guys found this kind of thing useful, or if there's anything else you want to see me draw, maybe some flowers or something, or I could do lettering like I used to do in a lot of my previous videos. Yeah, and if you enjoyed the video, I know this is super generic to say, but if you would consider giving it a thumbs up or subscribing, that is really, really helpful to me. Feel free to check out my Instagram and stuff, where I'll be posting a lot of stuff like this. In fact, I might even reuse some of these for an Instagram post because I'm lazy. So yeah, anyway, enjoy your weekend, guys. Take care, and thanks for watching.